Hey guys, thank you again for joining me on this journey of figuring out how to better reflect God in all aspects of life by looking at some things that I wished I had been taught. Now, we're still on the topic of politics or political ideas in the context of the Bible. In my last video, I left off by presenting you with examples of why the Bible doesn't speak of one side of politics or political ideas as being more aligned with God. If you read the Gospels openly and honestly, Jesus is going to offend your politics no matter what they are. So now I want to finish that idea here in this video. Reiterating some of what I said in the last video, civil religion is an idea that government systems or beliefs can stand on sort of a divine ground stating that to follow God is to follow it, and to follow it is to follow God. Basically, it's a melding of the two. But as I presented in the last video as well, God and Christianity can't effectively mix with politics. They can't and honestly shouldn't be politicized. One of the many assumptions that's often made to refute this is that America is, by God's design, a Christian nation. And therefore, its dealings of all kinds, including that of politics, should be guided by the Bible. But, as I also presented in the last video, this is not the case, as can be seen by writings of the Founding Fathers, especially, but not limited to, the Constitution of the United States. Now, the more important detail I want to present to you, however, is that God's kingdom is not of this world. That doesn't mean it's simply up there in the sky somewhere. No, it's here among us and with us. But it's different than any kind of kingdom that this world has ever seen. It's a kingdom focused on relationship and justice, which, as I also expressed in the last video, has not been the case with our earthly kingdoms, including that of America. When we focus so much on enforcing through politics what we believe to be right, what helps us the most, and what makes us more comfortable, we do so at the expense of others. People no longer matter. Relationships are no longer a part of building God's kingdom, and neither is justice. And it's interesting to look to history and even today and see that Christians oftentimes are more susceptible to these temptations of political power. And so now we wonder why that is. And I believe most of it tends to be rooted in fear of sorts and a sort of superiority complex that we have. One of the ways I've often seen it portrayed is that as Christians, we are better than everyone else, and so we are higher than everyone else. Therefore, we thirst and we long for these powers to advance the kingdom of God as we want it to be, thinking that if we fail to do so, the kingdom of God is going to fail. We think that if certain politicians aren't elected or that certain laws are not passed, then all hell is going to break loose, darkness is going to overtake us, and everything and everyone is going to be doomed. Now, doesn't that sound a bit fearful and prideful to you? But that's the thing. This kind of belief and this kind of politics leads people to constantly be angry towards those that are often seen as enemies, and creates a demonization of others who don't hold the same beliefs as them. I want to earnestly invite you to ponder this with me. Who do we harm when we internalize beliefs like this? And who do we harm when we hold these beliefs as absolutes? Perhaps the very people Jesus sought for himself and loved, and perhaps the very people that he in turn is asking us to seek and to love. When faith becomes a defense of beliefs instead of reflecting love, we miss the point of who Jesus was. And don't get me wrong, your beliefs matter. Everyone's beliefs matter. But it was always the grace and love of who Jesus was that drew people to him. not his beliefs on doctrines or laws or politics. To Jesus, people and relationships matter more. Regardless of your political ideals or positions, if those that you hold to and if the voices you listen to are fueled by fear, anger, hatred, disgust, discontent, and a lack of compassion or empathy towards others, instead of being fueled by love, empathy, compassion, relationship, and a desire to better understand others, then you are falling into the same trap as those mentioned by John in the book of Revelation, which we also talked about in the last video. You are allowing politics to be your guide and lead your life instead of Jesus. Now, in the next video, I'm planning to wrap all of this up and provide you with some ideas and thoughts to think on as we seek to better reflect God through this area of our lives. Thank you guys again so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.